Samson Mao is projecting, $1 million Bitcoin by the end of the year. I'm always a little bit leery of when these influencers come out like Kathy Wood and start raising their estimates to
Yeah.
much, much higher. We have to be aware of that hype cycle, which does usually come out around the top. So it hasn't gotten too frothy yet. I can't find that article, but so the estimates are anywhere from 138K to $1 million Bitcoin this year. So if we cut those in half, anything's possible. I think more importantly, and most importantly, we want to kind of wait for the opportune times to start adding to our positions. What I'll be watching for specifically, and why we haven't given any buy recommendations, is we're still in these downtrending parallel channels. I want to see this breakout above them, and while we're seeing that in Sol on the 4 hour, the daily isn't quite there yet. I do want to. I'm going to go through this list here, and then we'll get down to one recommendation that I put out yesterday as a buy, which is finally looking good again. But on all these, we're doing pretty well. On Filecoin, it was suggesting buying that around that $3 range, and it had a bit of a throw under here below that $3 price, bounced out of this buy block. And I still like Filecoin, not to go heavy and bet the farm, but long-term support on this has been holding and putting in higher lows. So since we see it has a potential 40x this cycle to get to sort of old highs, longer term, I've got a potential 250x on this. That's probably a future cycle if it takes off, if it becomes a hot narrative. But certainly one to keep on our radar, and I've shared that with you guys before, all these take profit zones on Filecoin. So it's one of those asymmetric trades that the risk reward ratio is very favorable to us. So you may want to start and continue to dollar cost average down here in these ranges. What I do like about it right here is our trend strength indicator starting to go green. We have our RSI Pro showing bullish divergence, and in case you don't really know what that means, that's fine. But looking back into the last times we had these major kind of moves higher on Filecoin, and I'm, Filecoin, it's on all of the coins. So just watch the patterns when these start to align, and when we get that TSI and RSI aligned, we do see these nice pumps. So looking at another version of that, Solana, just to backtrack a bit, and there's some great looking charts that are setting up on the weekly. Let me open up full screen so you guys can see this. And so looking back in history, when we have that TSI and the weekly kind of break up above 20, well, we have had some fake outs in the past. This is signifying some excellent runs going up and pushing higher on that weekly time frame. And then so we're just kind of waiting for this to go green on Solana, also on the bullish divergence here. I thought Solana was one of the charts that was looking the best. Aptos is one, and Aptos is one we've talked about in the past. But bouncing out of a buy zone right here in the green block, and the green box of buy orders, our order block detector, also seeing the TSI turning green. This thing's building momentum. Remember, that weekly chart is like the cruise ship. Has a lot of momentum going in that direction. Amazing how these things can float, by the way. That Virgin cruise ship was ginormous. Very smooth ride, by the way. But and point being, once they get going in a direction and heading towards St. Kitts, really hard to turn around and go toward Barbados. Whereas the daily chart's more like that speedboat or a sailboat, where it can turn a lot quicker. And once these things get going, again, on this weekly time frame, that's when we really want to be looking to get into and catching these bigger moves. So Aptos looking good. I have it as a potential 10x here, even at these prices, potential 8.5x, bullish divergence. TSI green, our signal line kind of bottoming, about to go green. So if you wanted to front run this, these are all holdings that I have for full disclosure and have been talking about for some time, but finally starting to turn around. Even Helium coin, I'm hearing some rumors that they might be going off of the Solana blockchain and back onto Helium. I was talking to somebody on the cruise ship, very crypto friendly group, and they had some, I'm not sure if it's inside information, but they're in that, not really telecom, but I met a guy that has pioneered sort of wiring in Wi-Fi to various structures at 1/10 of the cost. And they're also connecting the cruise ships together. So there's some new tech there, and they're talking about that.